Good morning. My name's Jim Bedics. I want to thank you for spending your time with us this morning. I'll be your presenter, and before we get started, I just wanted to go over a couple of housekeeping items. So the presentation this morning will be about 20 to 25 minutes. We'll leave time at the end for questions. If there are any questions along the way, please use the questions applet in your GoToWebinar client to submit them. We'll do our best to answer the questions at the end. If we do run out of any time, we'll make sure that we answer you directly. Also, at the end, we will be sending a link to the recording. We are recording the webinar today, as well as a survey with some brief questions. We'd appreciate it if you did answer the survey and send that back. Okay, with that, let's get started. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about Nimble Storage. Nimble, now part of HPE, has a proven track record of innovation even prior to the acquisition with HPE. Nimble was one of the few products on the market that allowed you to scale up or scale out your existing storage array non-disruptively. It also supplied web-based analytics through the InfoSight portal, protected your data with triple parity, gave you the choice of iSCSI or fiber channel connectivity, all flash, hybrid and secondary flash arrays, granular encryption, and multi-cloud storage. One of the keys to making a Nimble deployment so successful was that they are able to specifically model workloads and have the storage interact with those workloads individually and tuned exactly for what you're doing. As you can see here, a number of tier 1 applications, all supported by Nimble, all that act slightly differently, and all that can be identified and tuned within the array. With the diverse workload support, even though we have all these different applications, we can provide common data services across the platform for data protection, encryption, availability, performance, and scalability. Let's take a closer look at how the diverse workload support works. Let's take our first application, in this case, Oracle. We identify some of the requirements of that application. This is a low latency application, supports compression and encryption. We'd like to be able to protect it with local snapshots, as well as protect it remotely with replication. Based on those criteria, we'll tell the Nimble array, this workload is best suited to be put on an all-flash array within our cluster. Second application comes in. In this case, it happens to be SAP. Instead of a production workload, though, this is test and dev. So now we don't have the same requirements for latency or replication, but we would also like to do deduplication and compression since this is not a production workload. In this case, after modeling the application data, the best decision here is to put it on a hybrid or an adaptive storage array within our cluster. Two totally different workloads, some common feature sets between the two, but placed on different parts of the array to best deliver the performance and availability required by those applications. Once the workload is placed on a Nimble storage array, we then want to monitor that array and that workload to guarantee uptime, performance, and give you some future proofing. How's that done? Through InfoSight analytics. InfoSight is millions of sensors that are connected to all the arrays that are continuously phoning home cross-stack telemetry data back to HPE. That data is stored in a large data warehouse in the cloud and allows us to perform predictive analytics based on the data coming in. From that, around the world, global learning, we get continuous data monitoring and improvement that allows us to improve uptime and give predictable future performance on the array. Today, there's over 10,000 customers with Nimble arrays, all phoning home which equates to millions of objects that are under continuous management. To take a closer look, InfoSight is designed to help prevent issues and avoid downtime, give fast cross-stack root cause analysis, help you predict for future needs and simplify planning, and can even help avoiding updates that may cause issues in your environment. The result of all this data and predictive cloud analytics is that the array can detect and act on 9 out of 10 issues before you do. That gives us a 6 nines measured uptime, actual measured based on all the phone home data. And if you should ever need to call into support, you'll go directly to a level 3 engineer and typically spend less than 1 minute on hold. Obviously much different than many other storage products in the market today. One of the byproducts of all this phone home data is that we were able to determine that over half of the problems typically blamed on storage actually happen outside of the storage array. InfoSight Analytics can point out those issues and help you solve them, even though they have nothing directly related to your Nimble array. As you can see, only about 46% of what were claimed as storage issues were actually storage related. The bulk of the others were related to configuration issues or something on compute. Nimble Storage with InfoSight helps you boil down the complexity of your environment to help you predict and prevent problems. As we said before, 86% of the cases that are automatically opened by the array are also closed automatically by the array, never require your intervention. 6 nines of actual uptime as measured by all the data coming into InfoSight. It's not just a marketing number. This is backed by true facts. All that relates to a net promoter score that's higher than most other vendors, including Apple. Besides the focus on eliminating downtime, InfoSight can also help you predict future needs and simplify planning for your environment. Based on data collected by InfoSight, we can forecast your future needs, give you guidance for how to improve the array, and predict when you'll run out of performance or capacity, hotspots in the environment. If you notice on this particular slide, it's called out over time. Feel that this array is going to actually pass a threshold that will cause a performance or capacity issue with a specific date. Along with that, we could correlate performance issues and give you simple, easy to understand resolutions. In this case, we notice that we've got a high latency issue in the top part of the graph. And on the bottom part, we could correlate that to our cache underperforming. Therefore, there's a simple solution, which is improve the cache. For planning, we get simple, plain English recommendations on how to improve your array. Again, it might be a little bit small to read, but in this particular graph on the top right-hand side, you'll notice that the currently configured array has about 2.4 terabytes of cache. And based on the performance that we're seeing come through the array, InfoSight is recommending simply upgrade the cache to 3.2 terabytes. That should solve any of the performance-related issues that we saw on the previous slides. Another key component is reporting back on exactly what is causing the growth in your array. Many times we're asked, why do you need to expand the array? What's eating up all the space? Only to answer, I'm not sure. Let me take a look. With InfoSight, you can have a sure answer. Because we know the data types, we can show you exactly what's stored on the array, what's growing, and it gives you a simple, easy to understand, and predictable planning outcome. InfoSight's visibility extends beyond storage. For those of you with virtual environments, We have VM Vision. VM Vision can look not only at the individual hosts in your VM cluster, but can also drill down into the actual specific guests in those hosts. VM Vision extends that correlation and predictability so you can quickly identify VMs that are troublesome or causing the quote-unquote noisy neighbor scenario. Along with that, you can get an easy-to-understand graphical representation of which VMs are using which resources on your array, both from a capacity and a performance standpoint. Again, it makes it very easy to identify problematic VMs, as well as to identify VMs that may have been over-provisioned originally and could have resources adjusted to reclaim. The dashboards within InfoSight allow you to look at an executive summary and easily understand what's going on in your array. It gives you complete visibility throughout the environment and gives you everything you need to maintain a resilient environment as well as plan for the future. Now let's take a little bit of a closer look at the actual components inside the Nimble Storage Array family. Every Nimble array is designed on a common set of data services that are designed to be reliable, simple, and cloud ready. There's primary and secondary flash components that are available, as well as a multi-cloud storage product, all of which can be managed and viewed through InfoSight. Let's take a moment to look a little bit closer at the three main pillars of Nimble products. In the primary flash space, there are two different arrays. There is an adaptive flash array, which is a hybrid product leveraging some SSD as well as spinning disk. And for those workloads that need higher throughput or lower latency, there is an all-flash array. For the secondary flash, this is a market that most people may not be familiar with. This is a backup target that can also be used to do test dev or DR type work. Finally, tying everything together, you have what used to be called Nimble Cloud Volumes, recently renamed HPE Multi-Cloud Volumes, to allow you to have multi-cloud storage. Inside the product set a little deeper, you'll notice right in the center, the CS array is the adaptive flash array. This is the most common product that Nimble sells. This holds most any tier 1 or tier 2 application. Again, if you have a workload that has lower latency or higher IOP requirements, you can move to the left to the all flash array. And if you don't need the performance, but you're looking for larger capacity and DR or backup targets, we have the secondary flash arrays. So let's take a look and see exactly how the two different primary flash arrays interact and scale with each other. What you'll notice here that's different than most vendors is at a starting point, both the all-flash and the hybrid or adaptive flash array are rated for the same 35,000 IOPS out of the box in the same 4 rack units. If we need more performance, we can simply scale the amount of SSD in either the all-flash or the adaptive flash product. You'll notice at this point, the all-flash array is capable of more performance than the adaptive flash as you scale. If additional capacity is needed, we can simply attach expansion shelves to grow the size of the array. Again, as with the performance scale, this is all done non-disruptively. Should you outgrow the performance or capacity of a single Nimble array, you could build a cluster with up to 4 arrays, all managed as one, and extend your data set out to those 4 arrays non-disruptively. You can also have a mixed cluster. Instead of having a cluster of all flash or all hybrid, you can introduce an all-flash to a hybrid cluster, or an adaptive to an all-flash cluster, and scale your workloads inside. Again, non-disruptively. Now let's take a little bit of a closer look at Nimble Cloud Volumes. Nimble Cloud Volumes allow you to extend the support of your Nimble dataset from your on-premise installation up to the cloud. Nimble Cloud Volumes are multi-cloud in that they are supported both on AWS and Microsoft Azure, and there is no vendor lock-in. If you decide to change from Azure to AWS or vice versa at any time, or you want to pull your data back out of the Nimble Cloud Volumes, there is no penalty to do so. You're only ever charged for data that is actively living on the Nimble Cloud Volume. As far as getting data up to the cloud, there's a number of ways to do that. Replicate from your array, potentially use backup software, but it's very easy to get your data into a Nimble Cloud Volume. Regardless of where the Nimble Cloud Volume lives, you'll also get the visibility and global access through InfoSight. Because of this capability, we're easy to say that all Nimble storage arrays are cloud ready. You can take data from any array, whether it be a primary flash, primary hybrid, or secondary flash, and move it up into a Nimble Cloud Volume. Now let's take a few minutes and discuss the secondary flash arrays in slightly more detail. A Nimble secondary flash array is a hybrid array that's designed for dedupe and capacity optimizations. It provides scale out capability and is still managed with InfoSight predictive analytics. Secondary flash arrays are very popular as backup software tends to add new features such as instant VM recovery that test the performance of traditional target-based deduplicating appliances common in most data centers for backup data. No longer do you need to buy a backup appliance that's designed just to hold backup data. Your secondary flash array can do that job, but also allow you to run lower performing test dev or DR type VMs side by side with those backups. Because of the flash and the hybrid capability that's in the array, it also gives you the recovery capability for instant VM restores, where those VM restores run much closer to production component speed, as opposed to very, very slow on traditional target-based deduplication appliances. One example for great integration between a secondary flash array from Nimble and a backup vendor is with Veeam 9.5. With Veeam 9.5, Nimble has direct integration, and you can manage the snapshots directly from the Veeam console. It gives you drastically faster and more reliable data protection and allows for the features and functions in Veeam, such as instant VM recovery and virtual labs for test environments, to be spun up seamlessly and any time you need. Finally, I want to take a few minutes and talk about the Nimble Timeless Guarantee. This is unique, I believe, in Nimble and across our industry. The Timeless Guarantee has three main pillars, the first being flat support pricing. The support that you pay for your Nimble array the day that you purchase it will be the same support cost that you pay until that product is retired. This is different from most vendors where you normally see a sort of hockey stick up and to the right for your cost over time for your support. Makes planning budgets very simple. The other component to the flat support pricing are two different options where you can qualify for a free controller upgrade later on through the life of the product. The first is the 3+3 plan. If you purchase your Nimble array with 3 years of support up front and then renew for another 3 years when that term is coming up, you qualify for a free controller upgrade at that renewal that is at least 25% faster than the controllers you currently have. Another way to qualify for the same program is to simply buy 5 years of support up front. Again, at year 3, you're eligible to upgrade those controllers at no cost and non-disruptively to faster controllers that are at least 25% faster than what you started with. That helps you plan for the life cycle of the array and for some unpredicted growth that may have come down the line. Secondly, no forklift upgrades. As we discussed previously, whether we scale up or scale out, both from a performance and capacity standpoint, all upgrades within the Nimble storage ecosystem are non-disruptive. Finally, all-inclusive software licensing. When you purchase your Nimble array, every feature and function is available to you day one. If new features are added over time, they'll be added to the operating system and they are included automatically in your support plan. There's nothing more to buy ever. These features and these components of the guarantee, again, help for predictive budget and to stretch your storage dollar further. With that, I'd like to thank you, and I'd like to open it up for questions. Again, if you do have any questions, please type them in the question box and submit them. Okay, I don't see any questions here today. I'll leave the question applet open for a moment while I remind you, please don't forget to take the survey following the webinar. This will be distributed along with a recording of today's webinar. And if there are any other questions, feel free to send them in. And if not, I'm going to say thank you, and we'll end the webinar at this time. Have a great week.